When it comes to earthquakes, the big one could be coming soon, and it could be closer to you than you think.
Many people don't realize that North Alabama lies in the impact zone of a sleeping giant. The New Madrid fault line is 20 times bigger than California's San Andreas Fault. And in just the last few weeks, activity in this zone is starting to heat up. WHNT News 19's Nick Banaszak joins us now with tonight's special report on the New Madrid fault line.
Nick, I know you hit the road a couple of weeks ago, actually back to get to the bottom of what we're seeing and how it could impact us here in Alabama. So what are the odds of a New Madrid really megaquake?
Well, guys, bottom line, it's a roll of the dice, but there are signs this fault line is awakening. Now, just 2 weeks ago, an earthquake centered in eastern Arkansas rattled residents in multiple states. That was the biggest quake to shake the New Madrid zone in several years, a zone North Alabama is a part of. And if past history is any indication, we could be in store for much larger earthquake activity in the near future.
February 7th, 1812, 2 a.m. local time. America is asleep, unaware that disaster is about to strike.
This is the biggest earthquake America ever saw.
The ground shakes like never before, terrifying residents in the tiny town of New Madrid, Missouri, epicenter of the monster quake.
When I went outside, people were screaming, running to and fro.
Huge gaps in the earth would open, sometimes 15 feet wide. Then they would close again.
It's a quake of historic proportions, and one that's felt in virtually every state in the Union at the time.
What we know is that in 1811, 1812, there was some damage in tall buildings or in taller structure in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's certainly farther away than Alabama.
The 1812 quake was actually the third and final act in the trilogy of megaquakes that started in the New Madrid area 2 months earlier. Accounts of its intensity vary since there were no measuring instruments at the time, but most geologists say evidence shows it was at least a magnitude 8 earthquake and possibly a 9 or higher.
Historians believe only a few hundred people likely died in a region that was sparsely populated at the time, but today tens of millions live in the same impact area of what is now known as the New Madrid seismic zone, an 8-state swath that includes much of North Alabama. How many people do you think are actually aware in this region of the country of the potential danger coming from this New Madrid fault?
I think most people are aware that earthquakes occur here, but they just can't remember the last time one shook them.
Gary Patterson is a geologist with the Center for Earthquake Research and Information in Memphis. He calls the New Madrid zone a sleeping giant.
You take the same magnitude earthquake, put one in California, one here. The one here is going to affect 10 to 20 times larger area. That's incredible. The geology of the central United States is much different than California. So earthquake energy spreads out very efficiently here. We know the earthquakes of 1811, 1812 were felt 1,000 or 1,200 miles away.
A recent study conducted by FEMA rated 12 Alabama counties as code critical.
Being in Lauderdale County, it's sort of the point of impact for the state of Alabama, really.
Tim Greer is deputy director of the Lauderdale County Emergency Management Agency.
Depending on the size of the seismic event, our county itself could be a part of that devastation.
Greer and hundreds of other EMA directors in the New Madrid zone participated in a FEMA-run earthquake drill last year. The simulation model that FEMA used for its exercise was based on a 7.7 magnitude quake.
That may create some problems on some of the roads because they may collapse, or some of the bridges may collapse, or something of that nature.
The FEMA scenario projects that more than 900 people in Alabama would be injured in a 7.7 New Madrid quake, along with almost 30 killed.
What is the worst case scenario for a megaquake in the New Madrid fault zone?
The worst case scenario for earthquake hazard here in the central United States is a sequence of earthquakes, not just one. So it's one thing to be prepared for a magnitude 7. But if you have 3 magnitude 7s within a 3-month period with 12, 15 magnitude 6s on top of that, and thousands of magnitude 4s and 5s in between, that's a whole different story. Cumulative damage from earthquake sequences.
Geologists say there's a 30 to 40% chance of at least a magnitude 6 quake in the New Madrid zone within the next few decades. However, a historic and far deadlier megaquake like the one in 1812 is also possible, with the odds for one in the next 50 years currently at 10%. Emergency responders say having some kind of plan is essential.
Where families should meet, alternate locations, how they should communicate with one another in case of a catastrophic event, flashlights, first aid kits, torch, additional clothing if you can. Probably, yeah, within our lifetime there's going to be some kind of seismic event.
It's important to learn from these kind of earthquakes and to accept the fact that they can occur and that we need to plan for them. It's prudent to plan for them.
Now, this coming February, Alabama and 8 other states in the New Madrid zone will participate in the Great Shakeout, a coordinated earthquake drill that many schools and businesses participate in. But the New Madrid line is not the only earthquake zone that impacts us here in North Alabama. Just this past weekend, a magnitude 4.3 earthquake on the East Tennessee fault line was felt in locations from Cincinnati to Atlanta, and yes, it was also felt right here in the Tennessee Valley. To get a better look at where the New Madrid fault runs, log on to our website, WHNT.com. We placed links to seismic maps and other earthquake resources.